What is it is a Friday. I'm Rachel, and I'm here to talk about the Golden Bachelorette, some reality TV gossip with my girl Jen.
Hi, I'm Jenn Hoffman, the other half of Rachel's reality queen kingdom. And I forgot to ask Rachel this before. I usually use my ring light, so is that better or do I look weirdly lit? You can
No,
tell
I
me.
think your lighting looks good. Does my lighting? I think they look very similar.
Yeah,
It takes me a minute to get the flow of what lighting I needed, and it's like just one little ring light, and then I have a ring light around my webcam. It's the weirdest thing. Like every room is different.
Yeah.
Because some rooms I just need overhead light and I can be amazing in natural lighting, and then it's like some you need 20 different things, and I think it's an art form.
Know that if this starts making me swirly eyed because it's really a bright one, that I'm going to turn it off and I'll be in my natural regular lighting. But right now I'm in my home studio lighting.
Well, you look good.
Thank you. Speaking of look good, okay, never mind. We can wait for Pascal.
Oh, honestly though,
I'm like, can I marry Pascal? He's like 69.
I mean,
I'm like, what? Yes.
I love Pascal.
Let's talk about Joan's hometown. Do you want to get into it?
Okay. Yes. So we've been watching Joan throughout this season, finding love and finding best friendships, I think, is where also this show is going. Because we hear about Charles again, who we knew she was not in love with, but she's still talking about him.
Yeah.
So Charles is still a big topic of conversation for the show. And we finally get to hometowns where I think you predicted, didn't you say chalk from the beginning? I feel like we both said chalk. You said Guy from the beginning, right?
Chalk,
yep, Guy.
And I said if she wants a good time, Pascal. Although
I said Pascal. Yeah, 100%.
I said I hoped, but I was wondering what direction he was going to go in. But I was like, I hope for Pascal, but I was sure on chalk and Guy. And then I hoped for Pascal. And then my other one was
Mark.
No,
right?
I actually thought it was either going to be Girl Dad. I always forget his name. Keith,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or I think Jonathan, who she sent home.
Oh, okay. She sent him home. I know. I feel like I have been confused with some of the eliminations because Jordan, to me, doesn't feel... He feels like a filler on the show. They don't...
He's like Chuck.
Yeah, they don't feel like they have a relationship.
You know what I think? Because he looks the most similar to Chalk than me. To me, they in the beginning I would get them confused. So maybe she has a type and a look that she likes. Because I was like, all right, there's Pascal and Guy both have a sexier tan, chiseled thing. And even though they don't look alike, it's a similar genre of man. Somebody who's wealthy, does well, leading man type person, and then sports cars and all that. And then you have Jordan and Chalk have more of the Midwesterny, they look, even the past that lives in Chicago doesn't come across as that home Midwest French. So they look alike. So I'm like, I wonder if, even though this goes much deeper than looks clearly, because you see those feelings developing and stuff, if she just kind of wasn't as attracted. So Jordan is, like you're saying, a filler because, it's in her wheelhouse of who she'd be attracted to.
Right. That makes sense. And maybe she knows already who she is really into. And it feels like from watching this episode that I think it's Pascal and Chalk are the two that she's really into, that are the forerunners. But then I feel with Guy, I felt like they definitely like each other. And if it was just a normal dating, we're in the normal world and there's no other options and and not that Guy's a no other options person, because he's a great catch too.
I'll marry Guy too.
Great catch. Honestly. He's attractive. He's successful. He has a great family. But it feels like for her, he's more on the friendish kind of zone.
To check on this.
So
you'll know. Where's Joan from again?
Oh, I actually don't know that. That's a great question. I know that she's from...
You can't write for Joan Bachelorette hometown, or else you get just this episode from.
Yeah.
Oh, from. Okay, that's our start overall. Oh, okay. So she is from, say, Maryland, but where does she live now?
That makes sense because she does live on the East Coast because
Got it.
Guy lives on the opposite side of the country. And
Yeah.
so that would be a really long distance
Well,
relationship for them.
I heard somebody say that, but then I was like, okay, Maryland,
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time there. It definitely more East Coast. It takes considerable time to get to Chicago, and it takes considerable time to get all the way to Wichita from there too. And I was like, when you have so much family and grandchildren, and you're not as
Yeah.
young as the Bachelors, when this is the Golden, I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe they almost need to do it more like the Married at First Sights, or like, I
Like
don't know,
in the location
yeah, we're
where
not
they're
talking about
at.
Love is Blind because Love is Blind is dead to me temporarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, where it's like they pick more people in the metro area, but I know that's harder for you in casting because you're trying to find eligible people that are good on camera, that are
Yeah.
they're less, like TV hungry. I think you just get over it when you're older. Where in the Bachelor and Bachelorette, you're going to get so many people applying. It's like, you'll get a lot of decent applicants, but it's more challenging. So I don't know if like a regional thing would work, but I'm like, is she taking people less seriously based on where they live or commute? And I'm like, well, she's kind of screwed with all of them unless
Yeah.
one of them wants to uproot, or unless her daughter, and I don't know more about her family really besides the daughter who had the kid that she had to leave when she was on the Golden Bachelor season 1. I'm like, maybe they'd be willing to go. Like, they haven't had that discussion. That's making me crazy. That's what I should get to. That hasn't
Yeah.
been addressed directly. Where would she live?
That
Who does she have at home that would need to come with her, or that she wouldn't be able to leave?
that's definitely not going to happen. I don't see that happening. I see her, if anything, I see her going in the snowbird direction, which, Chalk's from Florida. So that could be, her daughter's not uprooting and she's not going to leave her daughter. So I think it's going to be one of those situations where it's like, we live together, different places. And like, you can do that if you're with Pascal from Chicago. Like, why can't you? Like,
Totally.
he'll fly you out on a private jet every week.
That's right.
I mean,
John also looked like he lived in permanently, even though he looked like, not Chuck, Jordan looked like he lived in the condo for divorced dads.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Jordan doesn't look very serious about where I agree. Yeah. He's like, I'll move. But no, I think Pascal is very rooted in Chicago. He has his salon.
His salon.
We see him go to his salon in this episode.
Over there.
Yes.
But he has lots of time off, so I could see him also being
exactly.
We'll get a place in Miami and in Annapolis, which is on the water in Maryland. Why not? He'd be
right.
Pascal's my jet-setting French love.
Yeah, 100%. And I think he would be open to traveling and living apart from someone more than some of these other guys. And with Chalk, okay. So Chalk has his whole family, and his whole family, his dad is still around. It seemed like
in Wichita where they did that, which we'll get to the dedication, but do they live there, or do they live in Florida? The most of the family, not the best friend. Does his family live in Florida, or are the rest of them in Wichita, or do they fly out to his friend's farm in Wichita for the tribute to his mom? Just lived in Wichita then, maybe.
I think that's what it was. Because, but that's a good question. I don't know, because I thought that they were all had relocated to Florida.
Comment section, please let us know.
Let us know.
So Guy and her, they start basically driving to Reno/Tahoe, the divorce capital of the world, which is hilarious. And you see them talking, and they are, I don't know if they're on actual Tahoe, but they're on a boat, and they're making
and they're cute. They have chemistry. They do it right now. In this part of the date.
They look the best together, standing next to each other. They should be together.
Yeah.
And they have chemistry. But what's interesting is when they make their wishes, he seems to be making a wish specific to her, and she's making a wish about I hope I find love with one of you, and he's like,
yes,
and it's very obvious, and I'm And I'm like, okay, so who's going to end up being the next Bachelor? Is it Guy or is it Pascal?
Ooh.
Well, it
Oh, the
depends.
next
Let's
Golden
get into more
Bachelor.
Pascal stuff because, all right, but Guy, I
Okay.
think, is top
Okay.
contender right now for the next Bachelor. But Guy,
Mm-hmm.
says that he's falling for her and has feelings for her, and
Right.
she does not reciprocate that back. She just says that's good to hear because I wasn't sure, which could be
Yes.
just honest. She might have just not even considered falling for him because she didn't think he was available. But I think she's so wrapped up in Chalk and also the possibility of the whirlwind of Pascal, like has a deep rooted like connection to Chalk. And then also
Mm-hmm.
she's three. You know what? She's in a love triangle or like a square with her ex who's, passed away. And it's
Yeah.
sad and understandable. I can't imagine having the deep of love where you have the relationship that everybody wishes for and that person passes
Yeah.
away and then moving on. But I also worry, kind of like how Jen Tran kept saying, I'm not sure if I'm ready. I fell for the wrong people. And it got to where it was a refrain where it was almost too much. Like, should you be dating Jen? So Joan seems to me like understandably that if she had this great love that she feels the guilt, even though she says she had his blessing, he wanted her to move on. It's like, can anything compare? But she
Yeah.
really seems to be like, it's like the guilt of moving on. But sometimes that guilt, especially if there's been time, you're saying guilt. And I feel like, I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying that we do know what your subconscious is. I don't know if these men match up to what I had. I'm afraid they won't. What if I'm let down that I don't have another love of my life? So you kind of put guilt to the forefront, even though logically it's okay. This person's passed away. They gave me their blessing. They'd want to see me happy. If it were reversed, I'd want to see him happy. And I think another word for guilt could be like uncertainty and just really missing what she had with him all over again. Like maybe like a re-traumatizing type thing. So it's harder for her to get, deeper with them. And then when on top of it, they're not sure, like Guy and especially Jordan haven't really said anything to her until these hometowns, she's even more separated. Does that make any sense?
Absolutely. So I totally agree with you, but I notice like she is also telling, for example, so since we're talking about Guy. So the first thing about Guy is when she goes with Guy's parents, she doesn't really connect with them. And then she talks about Charles, like I was saying. And then she talked about like she could see a future with them, but she just doesn't feel like Guy is really there, which almost to me makes it feel like she is protecting her heart by saying, I don't think he's there. I haven't seen that he is there, that kind of thing. So, like, she already has her doubts with him. So, I
Yeah.
think that she is protecting, that's her like defense mechanism.
Yeah.
And then she goes to Pascal, and with Pascal, she says to his daughter, like, she's like looking for an assurance from his daughter. Like, does he have a lot of or from the son too? Does he have a lot of girlfriends? She wants to know if he's a playboy. And then she says he is the most like her late husband.
Yes.
He's
She said
spontaneous. Yes.
last episode too, she was like, he reminds me of him.
Yes.
So it's like that. Oh yeah. And just to piggyback when you said she goes to the daughter Natalie, and then she says, I'm afraid he won't pick me. So it's
Yes.
almost
Yes.
like she thinks that she is not sure that this person who can have anybody he wants. Like, I'm telling you, you'll leave Brendan. I'll get up right now and leave. And me and Beatrix will move straight to Chicago. You won't leave
Yeah,
Brendan.
exactly.
But
I
you
know
know
what
what
you're
I mean?
saying though.
It's
But
tempting.
yes, no, I totally agree with what you're saying. It's like she asks, does he have a lot of girlfriends? Is he going to pick me? That makes
Mhm.
me think that she's unsure. So she's not giving her full attention to him either because she kind of thinks he's a playboy. She doesn't really think he's going to pick her in the end. So I'm wondering if I wonder if that's like they're like an editing choice. You know what I mean? Like these are all choices the editors make. So is that a choice where it's like, what if Pascal doesn't pick her? Or like, I don't know. Like we don't know. We haven't seen fantasies yet.
There's a little contrast though with Guy. I
Yeah.
felt like she was using it because exactly, you nailed it. She was kind of talking about other things and didn't seem to connect as much.
Yeah.
It could be because she didn't think that they were deep enough to bother. And, if you're it's not bitchy. It's actually almost more polite not to get these people's hopes up and not really dig into their lives if you don't have the intentions of whatever. And then he says, I'm falling for you after that. And she looks pleased with it. But I just don't know if she is as into Guy. It's like it seems like he ticks all the right boxes, and he's good looking, and he's somebody that she could or should
And they do have chemistry. And exactly. Like on paper, he's great. Yeah. And you're right. She should choose him, but it's like,
I don't think she's like that into him. I think she thinks she should be more into him than she is. Whereas with Pascal, I think she's holding herself back from being into him. I think she wishes she was more.
I think she wants to I think with Pascal, she wants to like jump on him. Like she wants Vegas every single second of the Golden Bachelorette. Like when they were in Vegas and he was like kissing her neck and like coming up behind her and hugging her, and like she ate that up. And like it feels like yes, all the sports cars, like everything. Yes, it's fun. He's like the bad boy that your parents tell you not to fall for.
He's French. Like, it's worse. Yes, it's worse. Exactly. He's like, he's a bad boy your parents tell you not to fall for, and then he's like, bonjour.
And then he's like, exactly. You're like, how am I not going to fall for this French romance? They make rom-coms about this.
Yes, but it's not just about, when I said sports cars, I didn't even mean about like him. It's like when she was driving the sports car, she looked so like free and happy. So I'm like, ooh, Joan really does like excitement, adventure, wildness, speed, like more than maybe you would get let on, because there's such gravity to the show. Like picking a husband after, your person you love has been deceased and everyone's older, and there's such heavy topic that I don't think we get to see the lighter side of Joan. And then Pascal, like it really comes out with him. Yeah. So it's like, it seems like that it's very difficult, and we can get through the rest of the hometowns to tell if Pascal is the type that she would go for and what she really needs, and she's afraid, or she needs something more grounding. But she met his family, and his family was very well grounded and like not, I didn't know what to expect from them.
Well, I knew because I had talked to them. So I kind of like knew what to expect from Pascal's family, and because his family is so great, I feel like that is almost the icing on the cake of a Pascal. Like,
totally, he is obnoxious or rude or like snobby. Right. They were all over the place, but you see, he has to be grounded somewhat if they're grounded people.
His kids are amazing. Yeah. So it's like his whole package of Pascal is such a great package. And I do agree with you where it's like, where she says, is he going to pick me? She must be thinking like, this is the Pascal package. And like, am I enough for Pascal? Which is like probably her own insecurities. But like when you're on a show like the Golden Bachelorette, like, it probably helps to have a guy that you don't feel like, am I good enough for him? Like you don't want that
because they're all coming at you. So to have one that you're a little bit like, whoa, like, you know what? If I don't pick him, he is now the most eligible senior citizen in the world.
Yeah. Which is why I would think if he doesn't pick her, which I hope that's not true, because I kind of really like the Pascal Joan thing. But I wonder if he will be our next, like a Golden Bachelorette or a Golden Bachelor. Because
I'm going to lie and say that I'm over 50 and apply. If he is,
right? Honestly, if he's the Golden Bachelor, every girl is going to apply.
I know. It's going to be wild. But you know what? I also will say, this is why I was going back to Guy. I think Guy, like, he's this ER doctor and he has the stability, and you see his family. And even though he's a little bit stiffer, there's women that also might be a little bit more comfortable, because look, he obviously lives a life of comfort too. He makes a good living. He's good looking. He's in great shape. He's well spoken. He seems very caring. He has a good family. Like, Guy is like this all American dream, like, every
he's the paper, like you said. He's the guy on paper. We have who on paper.
He is hot. You know what?
He is hot.
If Pascal wasn't there, that's the problem. Pascal's a panty dropper. So if Pascal wasn't there, then Guy would be the next best thing to the panty dropper.
I love that Pascal's a panty dropper. He is, though. He is. Yeah. No, it's true. He is. You're right. It's true. It's true.
Totally.
And he's like, look, he's the type of guy that I fantasize my husband will be when he's older. Like, which I do believe Brendan is going to be like that. Like, the wild guy that, like, Brendan always keeps in shape, so he's always going to be handsome. Like, he is the type of older man that you want to grow old with, right? Like, so there you go. We love a Pascal. And then you do have Guy, who is, of course, like you said, he's great on paper and he is very good looking, but he doesn't provide the same thrill. It's like if you're going to go to, are you going to go to a roller coaster for the rest of your life? Or are you going, or like skydiving? Or do you want to spend the rest of your life at, you know, in the Hamptons with like a cocktail in your hand, watching the waves come in? Like, both are great options.
And also how Pascal, like, I want to know, can Pascal Netflix and chill too? Because I bet he can.
I feel you think so?
Yeah, I feel like Pascal would be like, oh, let's like have a glass of wine, and like, I think he can get to, because he just seems, even though there was the whole stuff with like, you know, I don't like, the other people were doing the laundry for him and this and that. Okay, that's a financial thing, but he was connected so much with them. He wouldn't have those connections and those friendships if he also couldn't have downtime and be a normal person, like sharing rooms and hanging out and like growing out and then finally crying. And his family is like very grounded. So I feel like it didn't seem like he's the type of guy who just jet sets. It seems like he spent a lot of time with his family and he was very comfortable also being around the dudes and being a normal person. So I'm like, it's Guy will not be the one who's probably also going to, you go on a nice vacation like twice a year when he gets time off. He's a little bit stiffer. Pascal, I would be like, are you going to cheat on me? Even though I'm like 30, 40 years younger than you. And, but if he's a cuddler, if Pascal is a cuddly side and can Netflix and chill and wear sweatpants sometimes in private.
I don't think Pascal wears sweatpants. I would not picture that.
Yeah, French people have a little bit of disdain for that. All right.
Yeah, so I think that he is like, and because of, we heard his story about how he grew up, I think he might be able to Netflix and chill if he has a bottle of $150 bottle of wine. like he has a Napa Reserve bottle of wine with, you know, some cheese, a cheese platter and a charcuterie board. He could probably watch a Netflix movie, but he's still not wearing sweatpants.
Yeah, that's true. That is probably.
Yeah. But then Chalk, we're not even talking about Chalk, and Chalk is a front runner as well.
We need to get through Jordan the way she had to get through Jordan's date. Like, can we get through Jordan? Because
it was getting through. Okay, it was because Pascal, this is my other theory. This is horrible. Do not hate my life. Okay, so my other theory is that production was like, well, you know, we're definitely going to Pascal's, and Jordan lives in Chicago.
That too. I was like, so she goes to Pascal. So she has like two different experiences.
Yes.
He gives her like the touristy, like Illuminati's, which is dicey because they're a very controversial pizza. Like, I dated somebody who had Illuminati's like frozen and shipped to us. Oh God, maybe it was the other one. I think it was Illuminati's. There's the two that people fight over in Chicago. But I've been there and it's such a big thing. But he takes her there and then he takes her to the bridge where some like I think like famous disaster. Oh, it's on LaSalle, which is actually where I lived when I briefly was in Chicago. So I was like, okay, I know where this is. And then he's like, this is the best cake. And it's literally the same rainbow cake that's in my grocery store.
Yeah.
And then they take a shot of that liqueur that it's like local to Chicago. I think I wrote down the name somewhere of the Jepsons. The Jepsons.
Okay.
It's Malloy or whatever. That's a local Chicago thing. And like he's basically living in like the divorced dad condo. So you have Pascal, salon, whatever. And then production's like, just took Jordan and we'll go do a shot on
like,
the bridge.
Just like go to the. I know, it was so sad. It was like, just go down the street. We need to see the other side part of Chicago.
And then the conversation that they had on the steps was hilarious because then I could see his like teenage and his 20-year-old self. Then I was like, oh, he's in shape because he's wearing jeans that were maybe a little I don't know. I don't want to say too tight because I didn't realize what good shape Jordan was in until he was sitting down.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, maybe that's another reason because, you know, like
he is an attractive man. Yeah, he's like a very good looking man. It's not like he's not good looking.
But he's like, they're sitting on steps and he's like, so we'll take a step. And she's like, and a step. And he's like, and another step. And then maybe there'll be the big step. And like, they're sitting on these steps.
And she's just like,
You just took a shot of this liqueur that I just almost spit out on a bridge, and now I'm sitting on your stoop of your temporary housing, and your kids are like, you're afraid to get in another relationship because apparently somebody you dated might have been psycho, but also maybe you just don't want to, maybe you're also, I'm just like, there could have been 3 hometowns, but I'm so glad there were 4 because this one brought like the contrast and kind of brought the left. Like, I feel Jordan seems like perfectly fine. It's just in contrast to it. It was like hilarious. It was like comic relief.
It's like, it was like, why? Yeah, like definite comic relief. So okay, so we got through Jordan. Yes. Bless his heart. And he's a good looking man and he's probably great. So I'm sure he's going to have no problem finding the ladies after this. Sure. I would love to see him on. If they did, like, he would be really good if they did, like, a Paradise for the Golden Bachelorette. He would be a good person. Yes. Oh my God, if there's not a Golden Bachelorette in Paradise or Golden Paradise or something, like, we are missing out. So ABC, if you hear us, like Hulu, whoever needs to air it, please make this a thing.
Maybe they need a few.
We need Susan back. I need Susan to narrate the whole experience. Yeah. I need Jordan and Charles on it.
Oh my gosh! And you know, like
Charles
how they have that
Golden
thing in
Paradise.
I mean, communities that get the highest STD rates because you can't get pregnant, so everyone's like having sex without protection. I wonder, like, how it'd be like, watch, we get like Love Island, but it's like the Golden Bachelorette.
The Golden oh my God, I love it. Golden Island.
Launchier than Love Island. I need it in my life. Please.
I need it in my life too. Yeah. So then we go to Chalk, and Chalk is, I think, a nice mix between the guy who is the paper, you know, like I said, he's literally like, you know, a cocktail at the beach with the waves coming in. They're stable. It's always there. You always know you're going to enjoy it. It's relaxing. And then there's Pascal, who is the jumping out of an airplane. You don't know what to expect. Yes. And then you have Chalk, and Chalk is kind of like a nice mix in between both of those men, where he's like, he is spontaneous. We do see him be spontaneous. They share similar stories. He is definitely like, he's safer because he's not the playboy like a Pascal. But he's not as like
clearly from the beginning.
Yeah.
But he's possessive in a way that I'm like, or is it just a contrast because the rest of them are treading so lightly that in every episode he's like, she's for me. So I don't mean possessive necessarily in a scary way. I mean it in a way that, like,
I know what you're saying, where the way that he's like, I know that this is my person way.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's fast.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I noticed that too, where he's very much like, Joan is my person kind of thing. And I think that maybe, what if that's like, I don't know. What if they just know? Like, obviously neither one of us have been on the Golden Bachelor or the Bachelor or whatever, but like, when I have talked to my friends that have, they have told me, like, there are times when you're on the show and you just know that this person, like, that's their person. Like, you just know that is who they're going to choose. You don't have a shot. So, like, you might as well just enjoy the rest of your season because, like, what's the point? Like, and then I've also heard from some of my friends, because you don't really see the person as much, you kind of don't know anything that's going on. And when you don't know anything that's going on, you feel really insecure about it's just not going to be you. So I think maybe that's like where it is, where he almost, what if he feels it, he knows it, and like, because we don't see everything. So maybe there's just more sparks there that we haven't even seen.
I think I can see it though, because she, even at like the striptease thing, like, was beyond fun. Like, they had a moment, and then I noticed in almost every episode they do get time in together to get like one really strong hug and like an embrace, and like almost like a still got you, like it still is you. And, you know, there is no doubt in my mind that and she says in this episode, she has the strongest connection with Chalk. I think that they did connect very soon, if not right away, but at least by like the second week or, you know, a couple days in. I think that they could choose.
Well, he left and came back too, which is a big tell. So that's also why I know what you're saying, like the possessive thing, but I also wonder, because there had to have been some conversation where he knew, like, I'm not saying that like we didn't see any conversation or something, but just like in general, you just know, like, I have to go back for this, because like he didn't have to go back. So I'm guessing like there was something that just told him that it was different. And so I wonder if that, like, he just feels like it's different. And we do see it. Like, I do feel like you can see, like, when at their hometown, his dad said, I know you two are in love. And like, you can tell the way she looks at him, the way he looks at her, there's like a special bond there that you don't see with Pascal. With Pascal, it's very like, boom, this is fun, this is great, I love it. With Guy, it's very like, I could see myself here, it's stable, it's like there is a world where this relationship exists. But with Chalk, it's like, it feels like a different connection.
Yeah, 100%. And that you've seen it. He has stated it. And when I said possessive, I think maybe possessive was the wrong word. Maybe it was more of that, exactly the way you described it. Like when he has to, that he felt immediately like, this is my person. And he knows there is some connection reciprocated, that, and you can tell the energy that maybe he sees like a little bit of sparks of attraction other places, but because their connection felt so deep and real that he's like, no, this is my person. So it can seem weird when someone knows so quickly and says it like every episode and is like, well, I hope I get to see her, and where is she? And I want her. Not creepy. He's never come across as creepy. It could come across as that, or insecure, you know, that someone like a Pascal will be able to distract her from this connection, because I do believe their connection is real. I don't think he's being delusional, possessive like that. I think that he's like, this is the real deal. I just was like, it was very fast, but then again, sometimes when you know, and I feel like if they had when you know, but she's also on the show. I mean, I was going to start rhyming here.
And you have to keep doing the thing. I know.
And Pascal exists.
I wonder I do wonder that too. And so that to me makes me feel a little bit better. Like, okay, well, if they know, they know. And then like, Guy is so nice, but he does have the chance to be the next Golden Bachelor, or, you know, our Bachelor Island, whatever we're going to do. And then Golden Island. And then Pascal could be the next Bachelor, or he could be Golden Island. I think if I'm ABC, I'm picking a Pascal to be the Golden Bachelor, because honestly, like, I am looking at the wild adventures that we as the audience get to have with a Pascal as the Bachelor, versus like, sure, Guy is a great love story, but like Pascal is like boom, boom, bam, right? It's like fun. So I don't know.
It's Jonny Fairplay, reality TV icon, Survivor Hall of Famer, and I'm talking today about Work Money. Work Money is a non-profit organization that focuses on lowering costs and raising incomes for all Americans to make American life more affordable and American families more economically secure. They provide products, services, perks, benefits, tips, and tools to help members improve their financial lives. It's time to level up and make more money in this economy. We're talking getting rich. Now, this sweepstakes is giving away $50,000. You can use this to pay your rent, your mortgage. Imagine what you can do with all the money that you'll save. Now, this is put on by Work Money, and this site has all these sick benefits, and it's free. Go sign up right now and get more rich. Now, listen, you can change your life. Now, what would you do if you didn't have to pay your rent or mortgage for a year? Listen. Sign up right now for free. Link is available right here in the show notes. Check them out. Personally, I'd get more pinball machines. I'm Jonny Fairplay. I wouldn't lie about that. It's Work Money. More money.
But next week are hometowns. Okay, so, or not hometowns, our fantasy suites.
Oh, yes.
Joan, I sent you this reel, and she was like, I am not going to have a bed in the fantasy suite room, which is so different from the Golden Bachelor and also different from the other bachelors that we've seen, like regular bachelorettes. So I feel like if she's not going in this direction where it's like a home, like a, whatever they do at the fantasy suite.
Somebody before, right. She doesn't want to intimate with two people. She wants to choose one. She doesn't want it to be whatever. But I'm like, maybe it's less important to her, but I'm also like, even just the cuddling and snuggling and making out in a bed, not just standing up, like privately, can tell you a lot. Like how someone rubs your arm, like that could tip a scale. Like there is the like,
that's
her
true.
talk are so comfortable.
Well, how are they going to spend the night together if they don't have a bed? Are they just she's going to do fantasy suites, but just not spend the night?
I think they'll probably end up talking all night and like maybe seeing where it goes. Like I bet you they're like, let's start with some wine and talking and like a walk, like what we walk on the beach, whatever. Then maybe, I don't know if they're still going to do the invite to the fantasy suite, because before remember on the other ones, you have to have the date to get the invite. So in this one,
and then Jesse brings you the card and he's like, here's the key to the room, whether you choose to, go to it or not. So it's like, okay, so we're not going to see the card, or we will see a card, but there just won't be a bed in the room. And she said that she had spoken with the guys before, so they know what to expect. They know there's not going to be the, card. There's no hanky-panky going on, which is nice. I do appreciate that about her, and I appreciate that she's like, going into this in a different way than any other one else has, because this is her journey, right? Sure. And so she should do it how she feels comfortable.
Totally.
But then I also feel like, okay, well, even like, like you said, like, well, they'll go on the date, they'll go on the walk on the beach, and then are they just gonna like, okay, well, here's a room with like a couch, like, or are they gonna just be like, thank you, the night is over?
Well, I think that could be the if they're going to follow the usual pattern, being invited to the fantasy suite, might be an invitation to like, let's have like a little more wine and talk more and cuddle on like a couch. I bet you it's like a plushie, not just like the regular couch that they sit on. That's like whatever. I bet you it's like a little bit more like cozy by like, I would
like
say
a fire or something.
Yeah, like waves crashing where they're overlooking something, but where they also can.
Yeah, because they're going to be in Tahiti.
Yeah, it's like, I think it'll be a place intimate, and to see if you're the type of person that she wants to stay up and talk all night with, or does it get weird once you've had that much time? Because I think they haven't had that much time together, so this will be the most time they have together, and it's possible
That's true.
She'll decide she doesn't even want to continue. Like maybe somebody she'll have the date with and they won't go to the fantasy suite. And in this case, the stakes aren't sexual. It's more like, I think that we know where we stand and we don't need to like go back to a room and like cuddle all night and talk our lives out and, figure stuff out. And because you don't get to see certain things in the fantasy suite, it could be an opportunity also for them to actually like talk like logistically, like, would you really move for me? Like, what would our life look like? Like things like that.
Well, that's what she's going to have to, she's definitely going to have to talk about that, because that was the whole reason that Gary and Leslie didn't work out, right? Like, or Teresa, I mean, whatever. Because
Gary's full of shit. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. But I mean, that's what they said. It was they didn't want to move in their families and their lives. But I don't know. We'll see. I think I'm interested to see who she picks. I'm very invested in this season and I really love it, obviously. But I'm also like, I feel like it's such a refreshing Bachelor. It's like a really fun, the reason I fell in love with watching The Bachelor back in 2000 and stayed up all night with my sorority sisters every Monday to watch, because we fall in love with this like love story, and it's back to being a love story. And it's not just a, Jenn telling us if she's going to not find someone. It feels more like a love story.
I could not get through The Bachelor until the Golden. I would watch a little bit of it and be entertained a little, and then get a little hooked, and then get a little either bored or dip out, and then the Golden is like my favorite franchise.
I love the Golden.
So
Me too.
I'll say one final thing about it. I don't know if it's a fake out, but the preview edit we get, seems to lean very heavily towards Pascal, obviously showing some sort of ceremony, which is probably more of like a ritual type Tahitian ceremony. I don't know if that's like, that type of thing, but Chalk says like, she better be ready because like, I'm going to propose, like Chalk states that in the preview. Yeah. Then you see her spend most of her time with Pascal, and I don't know if that's a fake out because the editing, more so than almost any show I've ever seen, does a lot of like a voiceover or something that didn't happen that day over. So I don't know if they're faking us out, if they're because it almost seems so obvious that it's Chalk, that they're in love. They love each other, and she's just attracted to and interested in the potential of Pascal, but that her and Chuck are probably
like having fun with Pascal. Yeah.
They can't make it so obvious.
100%.
They need to make an edit where Pascal becomes more invested, becomes part of this, and then is like, get the cameras away, and like,
yeah,
drama.
Well, that's why I wonder if when Joan said, "Is he going to pick me?" If that's like also could be what happens, because I'm like, no. Pascal picked Joan, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like, what if that's what they were telling us too? I don't know. We'll see. Because next week, I feel like we're gonna get a lot because once we do fantasy, then the last episode is gonna be obviously the marriage, or the proposal.
So
we'll see. The proposal. We'll see.
So.
I mean. I think there will be a
proposal.
proposal.
Shocked that they're faking us out with Pascal. That's my prediction. Although I do think that there's going to be serious intimacy, emotional, and a confusion thing with Pascal. But I think in her, like the gut heart thing, I think the connection with Chalk is already set and the expectations are set. So maybe drama could be there.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's gonna be Chalk, and even though they're making it seem like it's going to be Pascal, but maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Chalk freaks out and leaves because she's so deeply, and that's why we only really see Pascal. Who knows? I'm actually very excited about it.
I'm excited too, especially because we've been watching it. So I've just really gotten into it this season, and I'm really excited about where it's going to go and to find out who she picks. And I hope that they do a marriage because they did one for Gary, and like, I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like Joan this season is even better than the first season. So I hope she gets a marriage too.
Is the way that it seems, the way that the father saw, the way that the whole family included her in the celebration of his mother's life. If that is a continuation of the way it would be, then I feel like that marriage would be more sustainable than what you saw with Teresa and Gary.
Yeah.
You can't predict anything, but that it seems like that one would work and it fits. And I imagine they don't pick Guy or Pascal for the next Golden Bachelor. I would be like, what are you doing? Can't be Jordan.
Well, the only other person would be Mark. No, not Jordan. Jordan is on. The only other one would be Mark.
But like, the one who his daughter was on the Bachelorette, right?
Yeah, but like, remember she said he wasn't ready for this relationship, and he said he wasn't ready. He said he didn't feel like it. So I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
right?
I heard rumors online that there was either a push to be him or they wanted it to be him, but maybe it's not going to be because it's like, I think that would have been fun to make it him, and I think they thought maybe he was going to get further, and then his daughter's part of the franchise. But that might be forced at this point because you see that he's not really ready. And I think he just didn't have the appeal. I don't see I see applications coming in because he's a catch, a good guy. He's known now. But I see for both Guy and Pascal, I see.
Oh my God. I think if Pascal's the Golden Bachelor, then we are getting
women might be scared.
The floodgates. No, there's no way. I don't think so. I think that every woman, especially when you're who doesn't want an adventure? You know what I mean? I just think every woman wants to go through that adventure, that romance. It is a fairy tale when you have someone that is so exciting and fun, and makes you feel alive again. It's just like it's such a blessing. That type of personality is truly like a blessing in the world, I mean, it's like not every person can make someone feel like that. So I think that type of personality is such a fun thing to watch, and it would be so fun to watch him on The Golden Bachelor.
Because then you have Guy who is like who is a representation of the other thing you're told you're supposed to go.
Yeah, of course.
And he's also very good looking and in shape, and he's a doctor. Yeah. He's always like, marry a doctor with a stable life and this and that. So it's like, it's like I almost want to
you want to put them together. You want a dual bachelor.
Like in which one will they
that would be, hey, they did it for the Bachelorette. They could do it. Could do it.
That would be fun. Like,
I wonder if Pascal would agree to that. He would be like, I am not sharing the spotlight.
Yeah. Well, he might, because he might know Barry has less to say and has less flair.
That's true. That's true.
Pascal can continue to be Pascal.
That is true. I love it.
I know I'm making a bad choice if I had to choose, even though I know Guy would be like I'm like Pascal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine that all the women wouldn't. I don't know. There's for sure women that will go on just for the guy. You are totally right. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. So have you been keeping up with the Dancing with the Stars drama?
Okay. So as we said, I can barely, which is weird because I was a theater nerd, a musical theater kid, and like did train dancing. I can't get through episodes. I have to fast forward through Dancing with the Stars.
Really? I mean, I understand like I fast forward through the judging a lot because I'm like, I don't care who is judged. They did a great job. Like, why are you giving them a 3? Like, or it's like a 9.5 and a 10. And it's like, yeah, I get it. They're obviously.
And the audience it gets a little old, and sometimes the themes get old, and then I mean,
but I love the themes. I love Disney night.
I was thinking that
I'm a Disney girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Disney girl. So I love Disney. I love the ballroom dancing. I love watching people. I fantasize about myself being on that show or just ballroom dancing in general. I would sign up to be in a dancing competition. So I think for me, that's like why I do love this show so much, or why I enjoy watching it. But no, I know what you're saying. Like, it gets boring with the like judging and the commentary, and you didn't do the foxtrot. Your flip was not flippy, and you could have held her up higher. It's like nobody cares. Like they did a great job. Like they learned a ballroom dance in 2 weeks. Yeah. I don't need to hear you tell me that my foxtrot was not foxtrotting. Yes. But I like the drama from the show. So Brooks Nader and Gleb, how do you say his last name? Shavakshiniyo. First of all, he's like very attractive too. And Brooks is like, obviously she's a Sports Illustrated model, gorgeous lady. So apparently they're like dating, which is interesting because I think you had said, Jen, that Dancing with the Stars break up more wedding or more marriages? Has it really broken up that many marriages?
Dancing with the Stars is the homewrecker show. Remember, like Robert Herjavec went on it, and he ended up marrying, I think, Kim or whatever. And there's been so many affairs. So when I was in LA, I used to cover Dancing with the Stars. I would get to go and cover the red carpets, and there was always the rumblings of who was hooking up. And I feel like every season something happened that a publicist was running to cover. That's when the social media existed, but it wasn't like, there was no TikTok, Instagram.
But that's because you had the red carpet drama and the publicists, right?
Yeah. So at first, when I started covering it, it was 2008 or 2009. So publicists really controlled everything. And then Instagram, like, didn't even really become like a thing that most people use until around 2012. So there was like a bunch of years before it where they could control rumors and say people were having a romance, and then like the marriage would quietly go away, or you'd find out there was an affair later. But now I feel like it's just like how I was saying, like how we were talking about how Big Brother has had more marriages than like The Bachelorette. Like,
yes.
I think Dancing with the Stars has possibly wrecked more marriages or relationships than any other show. And there's
possible, which is probably because
you're close proximity.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, because they're like the close proximity together, they're together 24/7. And I guess like when you're with your dance partner, they'll give you like 2 weeks and you have to learn the dance, you have to do all this stuff. But for that or week, whatever, that whole week, you're like, wake up, go to the studio with your dance partner. And because dancing is so intimate, like dancing is like, I think one of the most intimate human connections people make. So like it makes sense that your dance partner, you start to have like some sort of chemistry with them. If you don't have chemistry, you're not going to do a good job on the show. So it's like, I'm sure, yeah. And look, they're putting extremely attractive dancers with extremely attractive celebrities. So what, of course this is going to happen.
That is true. I want to look up something really quickly because I saw a headline of that I guess. All right, let me just get this straight. I just want to get my story straight here so we have it.
Okay.
Gleb Sevchenko. It's got to be one of my people from somewhere in my region over there. That he had a girlfriend, but they broke up before, according to, allegedly, he had a girlfriend, but they broke up before that this started, and that he claimed that he manifested for Brooke to be his partner.
Yes. Okay. So I read that too. And so, but then I also read another article where he never broke up with the girlfriend. So apparently he had the girlfriend while he was with Brooke. Yeah. Then Brooke is saying, okay, so Brooks is saying, that she did, so that he is trying to break up with her, but she didn't know that they were dating. So now she's like saying, like trying to play coy or whatever. So I'm so confused with what's going on with the two of them, and why, like, all of a sudden is this coming out after she got eliminated, you know?
Oh, that's so funny. I just saw the thing. Yeah. It's like a meme, like when he's breaking up with me, but I never knew when we were dating.
Yes. Like, so now it
seems like that they fully were dating. He probably still had ties to the other girl. Like maybe they weren't fully together, but there was probably not a breakup. Brooke probably then doesn't want to seem like get the Ariana Grande treatment, you know, of being like homewrecker type person, and also probably wasn't exactly sure. So she's just like, we weren't a thing, but I would believe that they were. If I had to guess.
Oh, okay. So listen to this. This is an OK Magazine. It says the truth is that they're massive divas, both of them, and that others around them, including the other pro dancers, think that they're fakes and phonies. That the duo thought that they would have a better chance of winning if people thought that they were all hot and heavy. So that could also be the chance, or whatever story.
That is possible. Yeah, because
that could be a story.
I don't see them hating each other.
Yeah, well, obviously they hate each other now if they're like throwing shade at each other on TikTok. But if they thought they had a better chance of winning, that brings up a point. Would you, let's just say like you're not in a relationship, would you fake a romance on a show to advance your chance of winning the show? This happens all the time in all these shows, by the way.
Yeah, now at this point, yes. I would have always said no my whole life, and now it's like, I'm like, I don't know. I still feel like I'm an authentic person that would have trouble doing that. But at this point, I'm like, everything is theater, from like our reality TV to our Hollywood romances to our politics to just like the local PTA meeting and the parents dropping kids off at school. Everyone's playing pretend a role at something. So why not? Yeah, I wouldn't want to someone else up, but if I had to like fake pretend showmance on Dancing with the Stars, although for me it wouldn't be hard because it's funny that I'm saying like it's hard to watch it, but I'm a fall in love with co-stars person. I have ended up dating people I've been in plays with. I think almost every single person I've dated has been an actor at some point in their life or performer. And if I end up in a performance, I will be like, even somebody who I didn't think I was attracted to, like, that's why I have a daughter. We met in the theater, and then there was nothing, like, I wasn't that, like, I kind of knew he liked me, and then we were in a performance together, and I was like, ooh, and that's how babies are made. So, Yeah, so theater, dancing, that intimacy is dangerous. It wouldn't be hard to fake a showmance. It would be maybe with somebody you hated if they're both divas and don't like each other and had to fake it. There was this whole other thing that like supposedly like somebody saw them kissing backstage and they got caught, and I don't even know if that could be dancing.
That could be fake too, though. Yeah.
Yeah. They could be
because like actually. They could be planting that, or even like if it's two, just these two, if they are fakes and phonies, they could just kiss and like, oh my God, they kissed. And then someone sees it and it's a headline and it's a storyline. I know from being in this world for way too long that people just make up the storylines all the time to get people to talk about it. Because if you're not in the press, if nobody's talking about you, nobody cares.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I think I would always have said the same thing. No, I would not fake a showmance to be on a show, because I met my husband. We got married. We have 2 kids together. We're, what was this, 12, 15 years later or something like crazy. And so I would always say, no, I would never do that. But now that I am older and wiser, obviously not with Brendan, but like if I went on another show and I was single, then yeah, I do think that I would have gotten into a showmance to further myself in winning a game. And it's been done, and look, it works for plenty of winners all the time. So I don't hate on it.
Younger, we wouldn't have, but now that we're older and wiser, we would. It's like wisdom brings
it is fun.
Lot of, like that you start to see through a lot of the bullshit.
Yeah.
And you're like, everything's theater. So much is play pretend.
Yep.
Who, as long as it's not hurting anybody, like I don't want to.
Yeah, and if it's not hurting anybody
or something, but like if we're both single and we can get further on the show, especially at Dancing with the Stars, which is emotional and theatrical and intimate. That's like the perfect show where it's like, look, let's just pretend that like we're hooking up during this so we can get further on it and get more press. And that's cool, because
100%
works, no one entertains many.
And like, right. And by the way, like you meet a guy at the bar and you pretend for the night you're in a showmance with him. So like, what's the difference?
Yeah, like Twilight franchise with a completely gay Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson dating somebody else secretly. That was $1 billion international franchise with multiple movies and things, and like that has made more money than almost anything else ever, all based on them knowing that, so it's like, you can't have Dancing with the Stars showmance, but you can do, I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I am pro this showmance, or faux-mance as they call it. So, and I know there's like other reality TV gossip we don't have time to get to, Jen, this week, because I guess we'll have to cover it next week. So leave a comment if you would get into a showmance with a partner on a dating show, or not a dating show, just a show in general, or a workplace romance. That's always a good one. Workplace romances are always testy.
Oh yeah, workplace.
Yes, and if you're a guy or Pascal.
Yeah, which one would you choose?
I feel like we need to leave. Yeah, which one would you choose? I feel like we do need to like get these more relatable questions up, like the workplace romances, because that's like a showmance on a show. I don't know.
A workplace romance, but where else are you going to meet somebody when, especially if you actually have to go to an office? Like when people sort of working from home, that's different. But if you're in an office and you're spending all your time there and you work hard, like where do you meet people? That's
where do you meet people? I mean, it's the truth.
Like, dating apps exist, but when you have these people that have common interests and common level of whatever, and you're in proximity to them, like, I have no problem with, there's some people that are like, oh, it's inappropriate to date in the workplace. And I'm like, we created that. We make up the rules.
Yeah, literally.
Like we people make up cultural rules, so that there is no rule.
So like, there's no rule about that, and go for it. I say go for it. But all right. Well, we love all you reality queens out there, and keep in touch with us. Follow us, send us DMs, give us your opinions on different things. If you have a casting video you want us to watch that we can review, let us know. But thank you for joining this week. We love you all. You can follow me on @Rachel E. Reilly Villegas, on Instagram Rachel E. Reilly on TikTok.
Oh, I'm Jenn Hoffman, H-I, Jenn Hoffman High, which I feel like I have to change it. I don't want to be like real Jenn Hoffman or the Jenn. I hate that, but might have to happen because Jenn Hoffman High is so weird. On TikTok or X, which used to be the platform I liked the most, I got Jenn Hoffman and I was stoked. And Facebook is that, but that's private. But I'm stuck with Jenn Hoffman High. So also comment section, what should my name be? Because there are like 1,000 Jenn Hoffmans and Jennifer Hoffmans in this world.
I like Jenn Hoffman High. I think it's a cute name. But yeah, follow us, like our videos. Yeah, exactly.
It's like being on like a high and it's fun, but no, it's not. And I'm about to take a nap.
Oh, I love it. I'm about to do an Amazon Live. I feel you. All right. Well, we love you guys and appreciate you. We will see you next week for coverage of the Fantasy Suites and just like in general, like reality TV gossip, because that's what we do.